Hi, I'm going to talk about some interesting features of the new base station firmware update 4.14. This unit is also currently available as a limited edition AFX station, which to all intensive purposes is the same hardware, the same features, and certainly the same firmware features. The only difference being with the AFX station, you get a very different looked instrument with different colours and different knobs. You also have on the display the hidden features of 4.14 and I believe a new set of presets. However, I'm going to talk about doing these features on a vanilla base station too. Okay, there's several things I want to look at that are of interest. The most interesting, the most important thing is the arpeggiator. What makes this interesting is for this instrument at this price, this will arpeggiate incoming Midi notes, which is very, very useful for the fact that you can just simply send this a Midi chord and it will arpeggiate. Also, there's a very interesting knob here called rhythm. And what rhythm does, this adds the tuplets. So if you have this set to 16, it will give you 16 semiquavers in a bar of 4/4. You can turn it round to 32 and it will give you 16 demi-semiquavers in a bar of 4/4. But unlike most other arpeggiators, rather than this being sectioned off into divisions of 2 or divisions of 3 for triplets, with this you can set individual numbers. So you could accept things like 2, 3 in the time of 4, 2 or even 1. And all the odd numbers in between. This makes for some very, very interesting rhythmic possibilities. Okay, so if I now demonstrate this, I'll turn this on and we play C major and it will arpeggiate. And we'll just have this going up to begin with. Now that was set to 18 and you can hear the 2 extra beats. If we set this to, let's say, 8, you'll get... If we then set it to 16, and you can use run to this sound right round. You will get all sorts of interesting sounds that you wouldn't normally get from an ordinary arpeggiator. This makes it really quite useful. And you've also got the option of doing this over 2 octaves. Etc. Now, what makes this interesting is you can have lots of fun just twiddling this rhythm knob up and down, finding a setting that you like. But also, if you now set this to to arpeggiate your incoming Midi, which you do by pressing function and latch. At the moment you can see it says in, so it will arpeggiate incoming Midi. You can also set it to out, in which case you can hold down an arpeggiation here and it will arpeggiate the numbers coming out of Midi. So if you have this connected to another piece of equipment, you can use arpeggiation on another sound module. I'm going to set it back to notes coming in. So if I now go to Ableton and I now record a clip, and we'll just use single notes at first. If I now play this clip back with the arpeggiation on, we will hear what we've just played as an arpeggiate. Now, what will make this interesting, more interesting, is we can play single notes followed by a chord. So just stop that for a minute. So now, if I record a new clip, now get this back. Turn the arpeggiator on. And I can manually switch the arpeggiator on and off with the on button here. So if you're actually recording audio on this and you actually fancy doing some sort of intervention, you can turn that on and off manually, free will, irrespective of what the Midi is sending you. So if we do that again with the Midi on, now, what makes this interesting is we can do this so we can have arpeggios on single notes and arpeggios on chords, and it will do the lot. But also, this rhythm knob that I was talking about earlier is CCable, and it's CC119. So if we write control value CC119 and put the numbers we put in, if we get them to correspond with the rhythm numbers on here, we can get some interesting modulations. So if I record another clip, and this time I'm just going to hold down a single chord of C major. Now, if we now bring this clip up on the Ableton screen, so if we look at this screen here, here's our chord. Now, if we now go to, and we make, so remember it's CC119, so go to Midi control, we go to CC119, here it is. So get the pen, get the pencil. We'll have some at 16 and some at 24 and some at 32. So if we have this coming out as 4 bars, there you go, here's 16. If we now have next one at 24, and then the next one back at 16, and the next one at 32, we just copy and paste all of those notes. We now play this, we can hear what the effect will be. So you can hear we can mechanically or electronically change this number at will. So we could do something really quite experimental and bizarre. If we now record a new clip and we just hold down one chord, such as that. Now, when we go to our MIDI control envelope, if we now draw all sorts of numbers in here, so we've got all sorts of things here, turning all the time, 27, 28, 26, 14, 17, 16, 16, 16, go take it up to 32, 32 is the maximum. We will now hear something really quite mad, but the point being we can change this number dynamically, so we'll get So as you can see, we can control this quite dynamically, and as such we can create some very interesting rhythmic modulations by doing this. And of course, while we're doing that, we've still got all the other controls to play with. Where this really comes to be very interesting is the fact that the big selling point of 4.14 is the now famous AFX mode. And AFX mode allows you to have very different sounds on each of these keys. So as everybody else will tell you, if you have an overlay It only works on the essential keys, but you can put different sounds on each of the keys. And you access this by pressing Function and Arp twice. And if you just play this, you can hear that you get these. So these sounds. So you've got 4 that are already been set up, which I believe you can overwrite, and there's 4 completely blank ones. So if we take one that's been set up, such as this, and let's say, let's start a new clip. Let's say we find a really nice, a nice couple of sounds. We just hold that as down as a chord when we press record. Like that. Now, if we play that back, we turn the Arpeggiator on, then this becomes a drum machine. Now, if we don't muck about with the rhythm knob, we will get some very interesting as you can hear. So we could create some very glitchy rhythms, either manually by tweaking this knob or by writing them into Ableton and playing that number back. And as a result of this should give some really seriously interesting possibilities. Put this over a conventional beat and we'll see what happens. And now we can say how we can improvise with this. And that's it. If you get one of these machines, have fun with it. It can be really, really great.